With every step I take, a lotus flower blooms beneath my feet. Each time a lotus blooms, the dead crops within a 10-mile radius are miraculously brought back to life overnight. Everyone in the village called me a lucky star. However, after a high fever, not only did I lose my powers and become an ordinary person, but every time I touched something living, they would die one after another the very next day. Lord and Lady Lin comforted me at first, and sought out famous doctors to cure me, but as treatment after treatment failed, our family's fortune was nearly squandered on me. Lord and Lady Lin grew to resent me as a burden, so they deliberately stood outside my door, and said I was just a fake young mistress they had taken in, hoping I'd take the hint and return to the countryside on my own. Little did they know, I am actually a transmigrator, and my true blessings are yet to come. I immediately pushed open the door and agreed to return to the countryside. Hearing this, Lord and Lady Lin beamed with joy, and I beamed too, because I knew that my 5 brothers in the countryside would all become top-tier, powerful figures in the future. I'd be a fool not to cling to their coattails. On the day I returned to the village, just as I stepped off the carriage, the villagers gathered around me, gossiping. Isn't that Su Qinghe? She looks like she got kicked out by the Lin family. The onlookers chimed in. Isn't it obvious? Now that Lin Wani has been welcomed back to the Lin family, there's naturally no place left for her. She could only sneak back after being kicked out by the Lins. Ha ha ha. But ever since Lin Wani went to the city, she hasn't returned even once. Look at the Lu family. They raised her for over 10 years, after all. She truly has no conscience whatsoever. A sharp, mocking voice stood out in the crowd. You can't blame Lin Wani for having no conscience. She's living the life of a wealthy young mistress now. How could she still look at this impoverished Lu family? Ha ha ha. Before I could even argue, my 5 brothers opened the door. 4th brother glared furiously and roared, shut up. Wani would never look down on us. Seeing that 4th brother was about to throw a punch, I quickly grabbed him and pulled him into the courtyard. Eldest brother welcomed me into the house, while 5th brother, Lu Qinglian, looked at me with a smile. You must be Sister Qinghe, right? I nodded with a smile. But 4th brother's gaze was full of hostility. Instead of being the pampered young mistress of the Lin family, why did you run back here to cause trouble? I raised an eyebrow. But we are still family. Seeing the tense atmosphere, eldest brother suggested we all head to the fields to do some farm work first. I could understand 4th brother's hostility. No one can accept a new family member overnight. Just as I was getting familiar with my new home, an unwelcome guest arrived at our door. So you're the imposter who stole Wani's life for over a decade, huh? Looking at the young girl standing outside, I recalled the plot. She was Zhang Qiaoyan, Lin Wani's childhood friend in Fingye village. I raised an eyebrow and shot back, what's it to you? Why so angry? Then, I leisurely added, by the way, since you and Lin Wani are so close, now that she's a wealthy young mistress, why hasn't she taken you to see the world? Don't end up being used as a pawn without even knowing it. Zhang Qiaoyan shrieked at me in rage. How dare you be so arrogant? Just you wait and see. With that, Zhang Qiaoyan stormed off in a huff. I rolled up my sleeves and began cleaning the house. After sweeping for a few hours, the house was finally clean. Just as I was about to pack up the things Lin Wani had left behind, an angry voice rang out from behind me. Who allowed you to touch Wani's things? I turned around. As expected, it was 4th brother, who was the most protective of Lin Wani. I looked at him calmly. This is the only room left in the house. Are you expecting me to sleep in the woodshed? Eldest brother, arriving at the sound of the commotion, scolded 4th brother. Since you don't want Su Qinghe to touch Wani's things, then you clean it up yourself. With that, eldest brother ushered me outside. Looking at the pastries on the table, I realized eldest brother had bought them especially for me. 3rd brother also walked in, carrying a plate of rabbit meat. Everyone urged me to eat the pastries, while only 4th brother, clutching the old clothes Lin Wani had left behind, walked out of the room with a sullen face. That evening, the family sat down together for dinner. After dinner, I wanted to wash the dishes, but eldest brother stopped me. We have plenty of grown men in the Lu family. There's no need for a young girl like you to wash dishes. After eldest brother finished washing up, he realized the water in the jar was only enough for 2 people to bathe, so he discussed with our brothers to let me have all the hot water, while they went to bathe in the river. Looking at my brothers who were so considerate of me, a warm feeling washed over my heart. After my bath, I lay in bed, calculating our family's current financial situation. Eldest brother needs to take the Imperial Spring exams next year. 2nd brother has to pay his apprenticeship fees. The money our parents work so hard to earn away from home is only enough to cover eldest brother's tuition. But for eldest brother to take the spring exams, he will definitely need travel funds and writing supplies. Thinking of the family's expenses, I decided to find a way to make money. By noon the next day, I was cooking at home. 4th brother, unable to stand the heat in the fields, came home early. He couldn't help but complain about me cooking inside. You didn't even think to bring us some water. You really have the attitude of a pampered lady. I handed 4th brother a bowl of cooling mung bean soup. 4th brother looked completely shocked. Just then, there was a knock at the door. I opened the door to see who it was. Standing outside was a young girl dressed in a light green dress. She asked me, "Are you the daughter the Liu family just took back?" I nodded. "Yes. Hello, I'm Wen Jixia." Saying this, she handed me a basket of eggs. I remembered this part of the story. My second brother had previously treated Wen Jixia's father, so she came to gift us eggs to show her gratitude. Seeing mushrooms in her basket, I quickly asked, "Thank you, Jixia. Where did you pick these mushrooms? Where did you gather them?" "They are all from the back mountain. If you want, we can go together next time." I nodded. After Wen Jixia left, I went back to the kitchen, cracked several eggs, and made steamed eggs to provide my brothers with some protein. When the other Liu brothers arrived home, they smelled a delicious aroma. Several dishes were already set on the table. Third brother was astonished to see me cooking in the kitchen. He found it hard to believe. "You're all back. Dinner is just ready. Wash your hands, and we can eat." A warm feeling swelled in Lu Zhao's heart. Eldest brother looked at the colorful, fragrant dishes, and said to fourth brother, "Little sister's cooking smells incredible. Who knows if it just smells good, but is actually hard to swallow?" Fourth brother always viewed me with the worst intentions. Eldest brother immediately scolded fourth brother. "Little sister went to all this trouble, and yet you're complaining. I'm sure this food is delicious." I calmly took a bite of the food. "Fourth brother, why don't you try it to find out?" Except for fourth brother, everyone dug in. Seeing how eagerly the others were eating, fourth brother swallowed his spit. The moment he put a piece of food into his mouth, a look of pleasant surprise flashed across his face. Seeing the tired look on my brothers' faces, I felt a pang of sympathy. "Brothers, I want to help out in the fields too." But eldest brother shook his head. "No need for you to do hard labor. Just stay home and rest." Hearing that I wanted to help, fourth brother curled his lips, always showing off. "If you really wanted to help, you would have joined us in the fields long ago." Eldest brother shot a sharp look at fourth brother. Fourth brother instantly shut his mouth. After dinner, eldest brother told fourth brother to wash the dishes. "Why should I do it? Little sister has been busy all day, and your mouth hasn't stopped running. Do some work, and maybe you'll learn how to speak properly." Under eldest brother's stern gaze, fourth brother had no choice but to swallow his resentment, and obediently go to the kitchen to wash the dishes. Early the next morning, I took my basket and went up the mountain with Wen Jixia to gather mushrooms. Zhang Chelian sneered, looking at my delicate skin. "I bet you won't even pick a few mushrooms." Before complaining about being tired, I ignored her. As long as I could gather enough, eldest brother's travel expenses would be sorted out. The basket was quickly filled. I bid farewell to Wen Jixia and returned home. I immediately washed my hands and began cooking, making a dish with the freshly gathered mushrooms. In the evening, when my brothers returned, they gathered around as soon as they smelled the aroma. Fifth brother, Lu Xingmian, leaned into the kitchen doorway and asked curiously, "What smells so good?" "It's scrambled eggs with mushrooms." I served the dish with a smile, telling them to wash up and eat. During dinner, everyone ate heartily. Even the usually picky fourth brother kept his head down and ate in silence. Eldest brother asked where I had gotten these mushrooms. I smiled sweetly and said I gathered them from the mountain, intending to sell them at the market to help with the household expenses. The moment those words left my mouth, the atmosphere at the dining table instantly froze. All my brothers froze, their eyes filled with shock and guilt. Eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, was the first to react. "Little sister, you took too big of a risk. There are so many wild beasts on the mountain. How could you risk your life to gather mushrooms?" I was with Wen Jixia. It wasn't dangerous at all. Besides, I just wanted to help improve our lives. But eldest brother looked at me sternly. "Don't go into the mountains anymore. It's not safe." The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. Third brother stepped in to ease the tension. "I happen to be going hunting in the mountains soon. I'll take little sister with me, so nothing bad will happen." Hearing third brother's words, I immediately turned to eldest brother. "Eldest brother, please let me go. If I go with third brother, I promise I'll be good and won't wander off." Eldest brother thought for a moment and finally nodded in agreement. Early the next morning, third brother gave me a finely sharpened small handbill. "The mist on the back mountain is very heavy right now, and the path is quite slippery. Keep close to me, and don't wander off." The mountain path was indeed wet and slippery. After walking for about half an hour, third brother suddenly raised his hand, signaling me to stop. There are 3 wild rabbits ahead. The hunting knife in third brother's hand flashed like lightning, striking a rabbit precisely on the neck. The rabbit collapsed instantly. The other 2 rabbits panicked. One slammed headfirst into a tree trunk, while the other was actually scared to death. Third brother skillfully gathered the prey, while I watched with utter admiration. "Wow, you're amazing, third brother." He scratched his head, a slight blush creeping onto his face. "It's just practice." When third brother and I returned home with our bounty, fifth brother teased me, "Little sister, you really are our family's lucky star." The next day, unable to idle, I went up the mountain again. Thinking that we didn't encounter any beasts yesterday, I boldly ventured deep into the forest. Sure enough, there were plenty of mushrooms deep in the mountains. Soon, I filled my basket. Just as I was planning to head back, A wild boar suddenly charged straight at me. Terrified, I quickly dodged out of the way. Just when I thought my life was about to end, the wild boar fell into a pit trap. Looking at the trapped wild boar, I carefully surveyed the surroundings. Once I was sure there was no danger, I quickly took my basket and rushed down the mountain. The moment I opened the courtyard gate, fourth brother exploded like a powder keg. He yelled, "What did you even come back for? Is staying comfortably at home too much of a hardship for you? You just have to go out and cause trouble. Wani was so much more obedient than you." Hearing fourth brother blame me without knowing the facts, I felt incredibly wronged. I spend every day thinking about how to make money for this family. Yet in fourth brother's eyes, I'm still inferior to Lin Wani. My fingers turned white as I gripped the doorframe, and my eyes welled with tears. I bit my lip, my voice trembling on the verge of tears, but I refused to back down. "Why do you speak to me like that? I only went to gather mushrooms." Fourth brother's lips quivered. "There are plenty of grown men in this house. There's no need for a girl like you to worry." Learning that I had returned, the other brothers gathered around. Seeing my tearful face, eldest brother immediately scolded fourth brother for making me cry. Fourth brother muttered to himself for a moment, and finally said he was going to cook. Fifth brother came over to comfort me. I didn't know what eldest brother had said to him, but after dinner, fourth brother actually approached me and apologized. "I'm sorry, I went too far with my words today." I knew that for someone as proud as fourth brother, making an apology was no easy feat. I also gave him an out. "It's fine, I didn't take it to heart." Seeing that the tension between us had eased, eldest brother suggested that fourth brother accompany me to the market tomorrow. Fourth brother immediately jumped up to object, trying to refuse, but eldest brother shut him down, saying, "An apology requires sincerity." Fourth brother could only stiffen his neck and grumble, "Fine, we'll go to town. It's a bumpy road. As long as Suching Head doesn't complain about being tired." I shook my head and laughed. How had I not noticed before that fourth brother's personality is so childlike? In the early morning, before the sky was even light, eldest brother woke me up to get ready. Fourth brother had already packed all the items we were taking to the market. Third brother brought over some food for me to eat. Seeing my brothers wake up so early for me, my heart was filled with warmth. After breakfast, eldest brother gave fourth brother a few instructions. Fourth brother nodded impatiently, and then led me toward the village entrance. When we reached the entrance, I noticed Wen Jixia and Zhang Chalian were also there. Zhang Chalian looked bashful ever since she saw second brother. Once the carriage was full, it began to rumble and sway toward the county town. As soon as we arrived in town, fourth brother took me to the restaurant to sell the game third brother had caught. Before the shopkeeper could settle the bill, I spoke up first to pitch my idea. "Shopkeeper, I have many mushrooms here. Are you interested in buying them?" The shopkeeper glanced at the mushrooms in my basket, shook his head, and said, "Mushrooms are too tough when cooked. Except for a few that are good for soup stock. I can't take the rest." Seeing his hesitation, I mentioned that I had a recipe to make mushrooms tender and delicious. "If you buy my mushrooms, I will sell you the recipe for a cheap price." Impressed by my confidence, shopkeeper Chan agreed, but he wouldn't let me off easily. "But if your cooking doesn't meet my standards, you'll have to wash dishes for free here for a day. What do you say, little girl?" Fourth brother wanted to refuse immediately, but I agreed to the shopkeeper's unreasonable demand. I followed the shopkeeper into the kitchen. Worried, fourth brother followed behind with his arms crossed, muttering that he wouldn't help me if I messed up. In the kitchen, the chef was vigorously tossing ingredients in a wok over a roaring fire. Seeing the shopkeeper bring in a young girl, they all stopped what they were doing to watch. I ignored their inquisitive stares, first washing the mushrooms and tearing them into small pieces, then slicing some lean meat. These were standard procedures. However, in the next second, my actions left everyone astonished. I took a potato from the corner of the kitchen, washed it, and rapidly shredded it. My knife skills were far too proficient for a wealthy young mistress. Even fourth brother looked at me with surprise, clearly not expecting me to have such skilled handiwork. Next, I wrapped the shredded potato in a cheesecloth and pounded it with the back of the knife until I squeezed out half a bowl of milky white liquid. This bowl of potato starch water would make the dish tender and juicy. I stir-fried minced garlic and pork slices over high heat, then added the mushrooms and wood ear fungus. Finally, I poured in the potato starch mixture to thicken the sauce. A dish of stir-fried pork with mushrooms was served, brightly colored, and smelling absolutely delicious. I plated it into 2 dishes and invited them to taste. The chefs who had been watching for amusement now gathered around in curiosity. They took a bite, gasping in disbelief, "My goodness! The tough, dry texture is completely gone. This is incredibly savory. To think we have been cooking for so many years, only to be outdone by a little girl." Shopkeeper Qian eagerly took a bite upon hearing this. He nodded in immense satisfaction, and immediately ordered the dish to be taken out for the staff to try. Every staff member who tasted it nodded in high praise. Shopkeeper Qian, however, tried to buy my mushrooms for just 2 copper coins a caddy. Even the market price is 3 copper coins a caddy. I firmly refused. Shopkeeper Qian, you have already seen the value of these mushrooms. If you aren't willing to pay 5 coins, there are plenty of other restaurants that will. Hearing this, Shopkeeper Qian grew anxious. Fine, 5 coins it is. You really are a sharp little girl. Having achieved my goal, I smiled with satisfaction and seized the opportunity. I negotiated a long-term partnership with the shopkeeper, agreeing to deliver a batch of mushrooms every 3 days. The shopkeeper agreed, but he had one condition. He wanted to buy the starch technique outright for 10 taels of silver. I immediately agreed. After receiving the silver, fourth brother was beaming with joy the entire way back, even taking the initiative to carry the empty basket for me. We went to the market and bought 5 caddies of pork belly, 30 caddies of coarse flour, a jar of rapeseed oil, and 8 large meat buns. The 340 copper coins instantly dwindled to exactly 200. Adding the 10 taels, we had 12 taels in total. Passing by the food stalls, Lu Xingxi looked at me with a complex expression. You bought meat, and you bought flour. Why didn't you buy yourself a hairpin? I smiled warmly at him. There's nothing I want. I just want everyone to eat well. The moment those words were spoken, fourth brother's expression changed instantly. He seemed to have grown suspicious of me. You lived in comfort at the Lin family for over a decade. Why are your cooking skills so excellent? Are you really Su Qinghe? My heart tightened, but I kept my composure. Fourth brother, what are you imagining? Of course I am Su Qinghe. My culinary skills were taught to me by Lady Lin. She said a woman must know how to cook when she marries. It was a flawless excuse. I thought I had successfully fooled him, but fourth brother looked unconvinced. My heart skipped a beat. Did he figure out that I'm a transmigrator? My heart leapt into my throat. Fourth brother looked at me thoughtfully. I don't think Lady Lin was right. If a man truly loves his wife, he won't care whether she knows how to cook or not. You must keep your eyes open when looking for a husband in the future. I nodded, and fourth brother didn't say anything more. Just as fourth brother and I arrived at our doorstep, we saw 5 or 6 burly men standing in the courtyard. Eldest brother and the others were confronting them. The leader, dressed in fine clothes, arrogantly waved a sheet of paper at eldest brother, demanding repayment. Every word is written clearly here. You can't wiggle out of this. If you don't pay up, I don't mind using some force. He looked at eldest brother with a malicious threat. Your family worked so hard to support a scholar like you. If I take this to the authorities, do you think you can still pursue your official career? Huh? Hearing this, eldest brother's face turned as pale as paper. Third brother was so furious he wanted to fight him. Second brother stopped third brother with a cold expression. Third brother bellowed in a rage. 30 taels of silver. Our family clearly paid it back in full. Why are you coming back for more? Are you trying to extort us? The leader, Zhao Huchen, confidently pulled a loan receipt from his coat, pointing to a line of tiny, ant-sized writing, reading it aloud word by word. To be repaid within 3 months of borrowing. If not paid in full, interest will accrue. Zhao Huchen looked at eldest brother and said, as for the Lin family's affairs, everyone of status in the county is well aware of it. The Lin family's true daughter lived with you for over a decade. Hearing Lin Wani's name, the brothers' faces turned sour. If you don't repay the money, I don't mind. And go talk to Miss Lin at the Lin family home. The moment those words were spoken, fourth brother couldn't hold back anymore. He threw down his carrying pole, grabbed a broom, and rushed in. You bunch of bandits. I'll fight you to the end. Zhao Huchen easily dodged the broom, but it also completely infuriated him. Fine. You don't pay your debts and even resort to violence. Men, overturn their grain for me. That was the food my family had worked so hard for half a year to harvest, and it was our rations for the coming year. I couldn't stand by anymore. I stepped forward to block Zhao Huchen. Stop. We will pay you back. Hearing my words, everyone stopped. Zhao Huchen looked at me and asked, could you be the biological daughter of this family? I stood up straight, meeting his gaze without any fear. Yes, I am indeed the biological daughter of the Lu family. Zhao Huchen sized me up. Looking at how pretty you are. Haha, you indeed have a way to pay it back. Hearing his words, I frowned, but still kept my patience and said, Boss, I am not selling myself. Zhao Huchen raised an eyebrow. You have money? Then pay the 30 taels. I looked at Zhao Huchen pleadingly. Boss, you clearly look like an honorable and imposing man. Could you please grant us a little more time? Hearing my words, Zhao Huchen's expression softened considerably, but he still frowned at my request for an extension. Seeing that Zhao Huchen was wavering, I pressed on. Boss, I did live in the Lin family home for over a decade. There must be some affection left. Can you make an exception? Give us 1 month. We will pay you 35 taels of silver, not a penny less. If we can't pay by then, you can. Do as you wish with us. Eldest brother pulled me back, looking completely shocked. Qinghe, don't be reckless. Where are we going to get 35 taels of silver in a month? Eldest brother, don't panic. Qinghe has her ways. I turned my head and gave eldest brother a reassuring look, then turned back to look at Zhao Huchen. Moreover, I can pay you 10 taels right now. With that, I took out the 10 taels of silver I had just earned today. Hearing this, Zhao Huchen finally relented. Fine, I'll give you a 1-month extension, but the interest will be 5 taels more. This is downright extortion. The interest for a month was originally only 1.5 taels, but he had the nerve to demand several times that amount. We can't agree to this. Eldest brother's heart was bleeding, but I readily agreed. Deal. It's a promise then. The most important thing right now was to pacify them. As for the money, I also had a plan. Zhao Huchen laughed triumphantly. I didn't expect the men of the Liu family to be less straightforward than a little girl. He immediately had someone bring pen and paper to draft a new contract. I checked it very carefully to make sure there were no traps before signing and placing my thumbprint. He took the contract and swaggered off with his men. As soon as they left, fourth brother completely blew up. Su Qinghe, are you stupid? Where are we going to find 40 taels of silver? Do you really plan to beg the Lin family? I looked at him calmly. Fourth brother, I said I won't accept the Lin family's charity. Is money more important? Or is eldest brother's future more important? Eldest brother has studied hard for so many years. He must not lose this opportunity. This single sentence silenced everyone. Eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, was filled with a mix of emotions. He looked at me with a complex expression. I quickly broke the silence, putting on a smile. Alright, I made money today. I bought meat and meat buns. When I said this, although fourth brother was still a bit awkward, he still obediently went outside to bring the things in. Then, he vividly recounted to the family how I sold our goods to shopkeeper Qian today. At the end, he awkwardly added, but I have to admit, her brain is actually quite sharp. Eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, was absolutely stunned. He had originally thought I would run into a wall. I struck while the iron was hot and looked at my brothers. I also promised shopkeeper Qian that I would deliver more goods in a few days. Can you brothers help me pick the mushrooms? Eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, finally couldn't help but chuckle. He reached out and tapped my forehead. You clever little devil. Brother will go for you tomorrow. As I was giggling, I didn't expect the always silent second brother, Lu Shiyan, to suddenly speak up. You said you have a way. What is this way? Instantly, everyone turned their gaze toward me, but I deliberately kept it a mystery. You'll find out when the time comes. Fourth brother, Lu Xingxi, was the most impatient. Humph. If you won't say it, fine. You'll have to tell us eventually. He muttered to himself as he turned around and went to cook. But just then, a man's shout suddenly came from the doorway. Hearing this, third brother, Lu Xiaoya, changed his expression and immediately went to open the door. It turned out to be his master, Zhou Taizhan, carrying a huge chunk of wild boar meat in his hand. Just as third brother was about to call him master, Uncle Zhou suddenly made a silencing gesture. Third brother lowered his voice and asked Uncle Zhou, "Why are you here?" Uncle Zhou hefted the meat in his hand and peered inside. "I'm here to deliver some meat to your little sister." Hearing that he was looking for me, I quickly walked over. As soon as Uncle Zhou saw me, he laughed heartily. "Girl, thanks to you leading that wild boar into the trap. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to catch it." The moment those words were spoken, the whole family was shocked. Only then did everyone realize that I had actually hidden it from everyone. Running off into the deep mountains all by myself, and almost got gored by a wild boar. Uncle Zhou placed the meat on the table. It was a full 20 catties, all prime hind leg meat. Seeing this, eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, his expression changed. "Uncle Zhou, this is too much. We can't accept this." But in my heart, I knew perfectly well. This wasn't just to thank me. This was clearly Uncle Zhou feeling sorry for his apprentice, and finding an excuse to help our family. But Uncle Zhou was resolute and insisted on leaving the meat. Seeing that he couldn't refuse, he had no choice but to invite him to stay for dinner. I was just secretly laughing in the background, when eldest brother suddenly turned around, and gave my head a series of firm pokes. "Didn't I tell you not to go into the forest? Why won't you listen?" I quickly stuck out my tongue and obediently admitted my mistake. Eldest brother sat down, sighed, and said, "Go help your fourth brother stoke the fire." Fourth brother looked at that large chunk of meat, his eyes practically shining. Happiness had come so suddenly. I just stood to the side, watching fourth brother cook. The way he tossed the wok really showed the style of a future culinary tycoon. But I quickly noticed a problem. This dynasty didn't seem to have soy sauce. A plate of stir-fried pork with lettuce was quickly ready. He had me taste it. I picked up a piece with my chopsticks. The meat was tender and perfectly seasoned. I immediately gave him a big thumbs up. But fourth brother wasn't satisfied. He kept questioning me, insisting that I give a professional review. I thought about it for a moment, and could only speak my mind. "Lu Xingxi, your stir-fry is excellent, but the flavor is a bit simple. If there were a sauce that could add both flavor and color, making the dish look more appealing, and taste more savory, then it would be perfect." Hearing this, fourth brother had a face full of question marks. A sauce for color and flavor? Yes, a secret recipe that can be stored for a long time. Our dishes can't always taste the same. We need to innovate and have our own style of cuisine. The moment those words were spoken, fourth brother instantly fell into deep thought. He seemed to understand, yet not quite, but it felt like he had grasped a key concept. Next, he not only made salted boiled pork and blanched greens, which tasted absolutely divine, but also humbly asked me how to make shredded potato pancakes without burning them. I immediately told him the secret. Don't stoke the fire too hot. Use the residual heat to pan-fry it slowly, flip it frequently, and it won't burn. Sure enough, he tried again, and the pancake turned out golden and crispy. Fourth brother looked at the shredded potato pancake in his hand, and the way he looked at me instantly changed. It became gentle and filled with admiration. That night, Uncle Joe sang praises of the table full of dishes, but I knew in my heart that one full meal wouldn't solve our problems. The 40 tales of debt and interest still weighed on us like a mountain. Early the next morning, eldest brother prepared to go up the mountain. He was really worried, so he grabbed me. Chingha, what exactly do you want to do? 30 taels is not a small sum. Don't push yourself too hard. But I told him to ease his mind. Eldest brother, I know what I'm doing. Go pick the mushrooms first. Eldest brother had no choice but to take fifth brother up the mountain. Only second, third, and fourth brothers were left at home. My grand money-making plan was only officially beginning now. I took out the remaining 1 tael of silver from selling the mushrooms and divided it among them. Third brother held the copper coins, looking completely puzzled. Chingha, why are you giving us money? Second brother, Lu Shiyan, also frowned, but I just smiled and directly gave my orders. Third brother, help me go to the county and buy 5 caddies of pork fatback. Second brother, go to the villager who raises goats and get a jar of goat's milk. Fourth brother, take a handful of straw and burn it into wood ash for me. The moment those words were spoken, the 3 brothers looked at each other. Pork fatback, goat's milk, and wood ash? They were completely dumbfounded. What on earth did I want to do with these completely unrelated things? What kind of earth-shattering thing was I up to? Since it was the money I had earned. My brothers didn't say anything more. Fourth brother curled his lip, looking like he was waiting to watch a good show. Wood ash, is it? Just you wait. Though his tongue was sharp, his actions were very cooperative. Soon, the 3 brothers set off. Fourth brother turned around, grabbed a chopper, and headed straight to the back hill. Not long after, fourth brother had the wood ash and lime powder ready. I skillfully added water and filtered it, waiting for it to settle into lye water. This was my secret weapon. Lye water mixed with lard. The cleaning power would be off the charts. And combined with skin whitening and nourishing goat's milk, this goat's milk soap would definitely be a bestseller. Just then, second brother and third brother returned as well. Second brother spent only 10 copper coins to buy back the goat's milk, and handed the rest of the money back to me. That goat's milk has too strong a smell. It's not worth much. Although fresh goat's milk was gamey, boiling it would solve the problem. Once the lard was rendered, I skimmed off the foam. Right after that, in front of my 3 brothers, I poured the hot goat's milk into the boiling lard. Before they could even react, I poured the precisely proportioned lye water swiftly into the mixture. Sister Chingha, that is our family's oil supply for a whole year. Looking at my brothers who were practically in physical pain, I smiled with deep meaning. Who said this is for eating? I had third brother, who had the strongest arms, take the wooden stick and start stirring frantically. We watched as the mixture of oil and water in the pot gradually turned into a smooth, creamy texture. Only then did I call a halt. Then, I poured the semi-finished product into bamboo tubes and placed them in a cool, ventilated area. Fourth brother was completely bewildered. That's it? We spent all day just for this? Don't tell me you plan to make money with this stuff. The corners of my mouth curled up. My eyes filled with confidence. That's right. In 3 days, we shall see. 3 days later, the goat's milk soap was successfully demolded. The pale yellow, round soap bars emitted a rich, milky fragrance. I took a leftover piece, wet it with water, and rubbed it gently. Dense foam instantly burst forth. After washing with it, my hands were not only clean and refreshed, but they also retained a faint milky scent. I specially tried using it on my face. This specially made goat's milk soap had a lovely milky fragrance, and it was smooth and gentle. I was overjoyed. This thing is definitely going to work. So, I immediately called all my brothers over to have them try it out on the spot. As a result, when they first held it, they still had skeptical expressions on their faces. But once fourth brother, Lu Xingxi, tried it, his eyes completely lit up. Wow, this thing really smells good. Right after, third brother, Lu Xiaoya, directly took my dirty clothes and started scrubbing them. The dirty water instantly gushed out, and the clothes became several times cleaner in an instant. The foam is also easy to rinse off. Now, I felt completely reassured. If this product is cheap and works well, it will definitely become a hit. I didn't just want to make money. I also wanted to make my impressive brothers see me in a whole new light. Eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, praised my cleverness on the spot. But fifth brother, Lu Xingmian, smiled and asked in a hushed tone, Sister Chingha, how do you know how to make this? Did the Lin family teach you this as well? His question was a real soul-searcher. After all, the Lin family has been in business for generations. If they had such a good product, how could they have let it go? My heart tightened, but my face remained completely sincere. This was purely something I stumbled upon when I was messing around out of boredom. Hee hee. Eldest, second, third, and fifth brothers definitely won't blame me, right? Even I almost believed my own acting. To my surprise, fifth brother didn't press any further. I immediately seized the opportunity to shower them with flattery. I poured it on. Wow, my dear brothers are truly handsome, dashing, elegant, and debonair, graceful as jade trees in the wind, tall, mighty, and strikingly handsome. My praises made my brothers beam with joy. Fourth brother held his head up in pride. But second brother, Lu Shiyan's, gaze seemed to see right through me. He probably thought I was playing the fool to catch the wise. Just then, eldest brother spoke up, urging me to head into town quickly. I immediately packed 10 bars of goat's milk soap and got ready to make a big move. Before leaving, I slipped a blueprint and a few copper coins to fourth brother. Fourth brother, find a carpenter to make molds according to this. The patterns must be intricate. I climbed onto the ox cart, brimming with confidence, my head filled with marketing strategies. But I never expected that before selling even a single bar of soap, I would instead be taken a liking to by the older ladies on the cart. The way they looked at me was like they were looking at their future daughter-in-law. Seeing me so popular, eldest brother's mood also brightened up. As soon as we entered the county, I pulled him and headed straight to the restaurant. The stir-fried mushrooms with black fungus was selling very well. As soon as shopkeeper Chen saw me, he immediately spoke. If you hadn't come, I would have looked for someone else. I got straight to the point. I've been keeping track of the time. Why would I turn down a chance to make money? Is 3 copper coins a caddy still the deal? Shopkeeper Chen was grinning from ear to ear from making money. Once a promise is made, it is set in stone. Then we waited, 40 caddies. That came to 1 tael. And 20 copper coins, immediately in hand. I happily tucked the silver into my bag. Eldest brother watched my practiced handling of the business from the side, his gaze shifting once again. But I still had another card up my sleeve. Before leaving, I took out a bar of goat's milk soap and handed it to Shopkeeper Chen. Shopkeeper Chen, this is called goat's milk soap. It's much better than regular soap pods. Take it home for your wife to try. This was a perfect opportunity to test the market. How could I let it pass? To my surprise, just as I turned around, I bumped right into a firm chest with a dull thud. A faint scent of pine washed over me. I quickly took 2 steps back and looked up. It was actually a man in a purple robe wearing a fanged mask. His aura clearly showed he was no ordinary person. I quickly apologized. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. The man's voice was cool. As he casually said, it's fine. The next second, he directly pulled out a 10-tael silver ingot and slapped it onto the counter. 1 premium room. And your finest food and wine. My goodness, what a wealthy man. Without thinking too much, I pulled eldest brother out of the restaurant. On the way, eldest brother finally couldn't help but ask me, how do you plan to sell the goat's milk soap? Which grocery shop in the county has the best business? Eldest brother was startled, thinking I wanted to buy something. He then pointed toward the center of the town. To the largest shop on the street, Yong'an Grocery. That place has the most complete selection of goods. I nodded and led eldest brother straight there. As soon as we walked in, a shrewd-looking proprietress came up to greet us. What are you buying? Eldest brother also asked me what I wanted to buy, but I smiled mysteriously. We're not buying anything. The moment those words were spoken, Lu Sanyang's face instantly fell. Her smile vanished. Not buying anything? Then what are you here for? But I smiled with confidence. I want to show you a good product and discuss a win-win business deal. Lu Sanyang sized me up and sneered, little girl, have you even grown up yet? To talk business with me? These words were too disrespectful. Eldest brother's brow furrowed on the spot. But I didn't care at all and immediately shot back. Appearances can be deceiving. Age is not an issue. As long as I can make you money, isn't that enough? If you aren't interested, I can go to another shop, I said, turning to leave. These words indeed struck a chord. Fine. Let me see. She was getting anxious. Seeing this, I smiled, knowing everything was under control. Then, I opened my basket, revealing the goat's milk soap inside. Sure enough, Lu Sanyang was curious. What is this? I immediately began my pitch. From the ingredients to the benefits. From its milky fragrance to its high-end quality. It's better than soap pods and even cheaper. I'll give you a bar for free to test the waters. If you find it useful, I will deliver more to you. You have nothing to lose. My mouth was dry from speaking so much. I watched as she took the soap and smelled it repeatedly, her face full of doubt and hesitation. In the end, she couldn't resist the temptation. You mean you're giving me all of these for free? I nodded firmly. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Fine, I'll try it first. But if no one buys it, then we'll forget about it. This woman was extremely shrewd. But this was exactly what I wanted. After reaching an agreement with her, I told her I would return in a few days. I then left with eldest brother, filled with confidence. I knew the charm of handmade soap all too well. It would absolutely win over these ancient people. Eldest brother was full of admiration, praising me for my clear thinking. To think you actually thought of cooperating with shops. I immediately pulled him along to buy more pork fat back. Eldest brother, let's make 100 bars of goat's milk soap first. I am confident they will sell. As long as she uses it and likes it, she will naturally do everything she can to promote it. Next, we bought 10 caddies of pork fatback in one go. The vendor even threw in 2 bones for free. Then, I bought another 8 meat buns. And 3 sugar pancakes to bring back to fourth brother. But eldest brother felt a bit bad, feeling like I was spending all the money I had earned. My heart warmed. Having older brothers really makes a difference. What I didn't know was that up on the balcony of a nearby tea house, a pair of resentful eyes was staring intently at eldest brother and me. That person was Linwani, who should have been the one enjoying all of this. She envied eldest brother's doting treatment of me, and hated me for stealing her life. Although spending nearly 1 tael of silver all at once made me feel a bit of a sting, I saw someone selling jujubes at the market. They were only 5 copper coins, so I bought a few on a whim. I headed straight to the ingredient market to buy 10 caddies of pork fatback. Then, to my surprise, I found apricot kernel oil in the grain and oil shop. This oil makes dishes taste delicious, and it was only selling for 8 copper coins a caddy. It was an absolute steal. I immediately bought 5 caddies of it. After sweeping up a bunch of dried flowers, a brand new idea exploded in my mind. Using apricot kernel oil as the base, lotus flower powder for coloring, and adding some Chinese herbal medicine. Wouldn't this be a high-end facial soap? In an instant, another tael of silver was spent, but I didn't feel bad at all, for I saw a golden road to making a fortune. I excitedly ran to second brother, and flashed my money bag. Second brother, look. We'll soon gather 30 taels. We'll even have money left over to make more new molds. Looking at me showing off like a proud child, on second brother's ice-cold face, a rare smile actually appeared. It was worth it. Sooner or later, I will melt this iceberg of his. But just then, a thunderous sound of hooves suddenly erupted behind us. A man in a purple robe wearing a fanged mask was galloping wildly down the street, pursued relentlessly by a group of men in black wielding swords. The entire street instantly turned into utter chaos. As soon as I turned around, that tall horse had already charged right in front of me. In the nick of time, second brother yanked me to the side. The masked man also pulled hard on the reins, and the horse's hooves landed right before my eyes. It missed by a mere inch. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. The next second, the masked man whipped his horse and sped away, and the men in black also swept past with a roar. Fuming, I yelled, "Are you out of your mind? Galloping on the street will get you thrown in jail." Second brother asked anxiously, "Are you okay?" I shook my head, still shaken up. Second brother suddenly said, "I'll go to the medical clinic first." It turned out he was thinking of asking what herbs the clinic was short of, as he wanted to go up the mountain to harvest them, to help share my burden. So, the 2 of us headed straight to the clinic. As it turned out, upon asking, they were currently short of 2 herbs, fong fong and sanchi. Second brother made a mental note of it. But I dragged him straight to a noodle shop. After a hard day's work, we must have a good meal. Unexpectedly, second brother wanted to save money for me, and only wanted a 5 copper bowl of plain noodles. I waved my hand grandly. "Boss, bring us meat noodles. The 8 copper kind." What a joke. Now that we can make money, shouldn't we treat ourselves? My treat, so don't try to save me money. But second brother's next words were like a bucket of cold water poured over my head. With a distant look, he said, "You earned the money. I didn't help much, so I don't deserve it." What did he mean by that? Feeling a pang in my heart, I asked him directly, "Second brother, do you not consider me family at all?" He panicked instantly, but only said indifferently, "Don't overthink it." The 2 of us ate this meal in silence. However, on the way home, an accident occurred. There was a dilapidated earth god temple by the roadside. Usually, I wouldn't even glance at it if I passed by 100 times. Yet this time, as it possessed, I felt like something inside was calling out to me. Ignoring second brother's calls, I walked inside as if guided by some unseen force. The ruined temple was full of cobwebs, but there were actually several pools of wet blood on the floor. My heart tightened, following the blood trail inward. Right behind the statue, a corner of a purple robe was suddenly revealed. It was him, the masked man who had galloped through the street. He was covered in blood and on the verge of passing out. Just as I poked my head out, a sword thrust fiercely toward me, but he had no strength left. The sword fell to the ground with a clang. I fell flat on my buttocks in fright. Hearing the noise, second brother rushed in, shielding me behind him. Pointing at the man, my voice trembled, "Second brother. Someone is injured." Second brother took a look, and also recognized him as the terrifying figure from the street. Unexpectedly, the masked man still retained a shred of consciousness. His eyes seemed unable to see, but he stared intently in my direction. My intuition told me, this guy was definitely an important NPC. As I was stepping forward to check his wounds, second brother grabbed me, preventing me from getting close to him. Seeing the sword wounds on the man, he knew this person was a magnet for trouble. I brushed off his hand and squatted down directly. "How are you?" The masked man seemed to catch my scent. He suddenly coughed up a mouthful of black blood. Seeing the black blood, Second brother's pupils dilated, putting everything else aside. He quickly squatted down to examine the wound. With just one look, his face changed dramatically. It's 7-star crabapple. I had heard of this. It rots the intestines, pierces the heart, and warps the bones. Within 12 shurchen, one would dissolve into a pool of bloody water. It was truly a living hell. Second brother checked his pulse, his brow tightly knit. I anxiously asked, Second brother, can we save him? Second brother stood up and shook his head. I can neutralize this poison. But we don't have all the herbs. Without the antidote within 6 shurchen, even an immortal couldn't save him. Hearing this, the masked man's desire to survive surged. This jade tablet is worth 1,000 gold. Save me, and you will be generously rewarded. But second brother looked utterly helpless. It's not a matter of money. Going to the Zhou mansion and back takes at least a day. He won't last that long. Having said that, he seemed to give up. It won't work. A voice in my head screamed frantically. Don't let him die. We must save him. Staring at his mask, I blurted out, tell me, what is your name? He struggled to keep his eyes open to prevent himself from passing out. Summoning his very last ounce of strength, he squeezed out 3 words, Xie Jingchen. These 3 words struck me like a bolt of lightning. Xie Jingchen. I couldn't believe my ears. My world instantly shattered. Xie Jingchen was actually the brilliant and breathtaking second male lead from the book, The White Moonlight, whose fate had always broken my heart. According to the original plot, the one who saves him should be the female lead, Lin Wani. Because of this life-saving favor, Lin Wani became the beloved of his heart. He then silently protected her, attending to her every need, only to end up growing old and dying in solitude. Now, the person saving him has actually become. I spun around abruptly and grabbed second brother's arm. Second brother, we must save him. Second brother was startled by my sudden intensity. What nonsense are you talking? How do we save him? I forced myself to calm down. I tried hard to recall how it was written in the book. Right. Lin Wani brought him back to the Lu family home, and then had third brother ride Zhou Qieshan's horse to rush to the Zhou mansion to buy the medicine. Only at the very last moment did she save Xie Jingchen's life. Let's take him back first. But I didn't expect that. While we were desperately trying to save a life, an uninvited guest had arrived at our house. Lin Wani had returned. She was dressed in fine silks and satins, adorned with exquisite jewelry and hairpins, surrounded by maids and servants. Her entourage was grand. This display of wealth instantly made my brothers feel a massive gap between them. Fourth brother, Lu Xingxi, still warmly gathered around her. Wani, are you doing well in the Lin family? But before he could finish his sentence, he was coldly interrupted by eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng. Fourth brother, how could Wani not be doing well in the Lin family? Don't speak nonsense. It turned out eldest brother was afraid Lin Wani would find out that the family was currently paying off debts from her medical bills years ago. Meanwhile, Lin Wani had a hypocritical smile on her face. She had returned this time specifically to gloat over me. She envied that I had lived 15 years of the comfortable life that should have belonged to her. Then, she began distributing gifts. The expensive inkstone for eldest brother was worth 100 taels, and the high-grade paints for third brother were rare items. She thought this was a generous show of honor, not knowing that to my brothers, it was a blatant humiliation. Just then, her childhood friend, Zhang Qiaolian, ran over, wanting to give her a hug, but looking at her covered in dust, Lin Wani's eyes were filled with uncontrollable disgust. Her former good sister was now so beneath her in her eyes. In the end, she didn't see me and left empty-handed, forced to prepare to leave in frustration. But just as she was about to leave, eldest brother, Lu Zhiheng, stopped her. The next second, he actually returned all the gifts, completely untouched. Lin Wani's face instantly turned pale. Eldest brother, I picked these out specifically for you. Why won't you accept them? These are far too valuable. We would feel uncomfortable using them. Hearing this, Lin Wani's expression softened slightly, saying she would bring less expensive gifts next time. Just as she left, second brother and I arrived. When eldest brother saw us bringing back a man, he was completely dumbfounded. What are you? I didn't have time to explain. I grabbed third brother, as if seeing a savior. Third brother, go borrow Zhou Qieshan's horse immediately. Go to the Zhou mansion to get the medicine. If you're late, his life will be lost. Right after that, I stuffed the bag of silver I had just received straight into his hands. Yet, third brother's focus was surprisingly off. How do you know Zhou Taishan has a horse? My heart skipped a beat, and I could only make up an excuse. I heard it from the village ants. Hurry up. I can't let my white moonlight just die like this. Together, they carried him into the room. Once the man was settled, I quickly urged second brother to write down the prescription. But he remained completely calm and unhurried, even having the mind to tease me. What's your hurry? Do you like him? I stuffed the prescription into third brother's hand, my tone extremely solemn. Third brother, you must be back within 5.5 shurchen. A human life is at stake. Without a second word, third brother mounted the horse and sped off into the dust. Watching him ride away, I took a deep breath. I knew the plot had already quietly changed. In the original book, the one who saved him was Lin Wani, but now it is me. This life-saving favor will be my future trump card. Inside, second brother began cleaning the wounds. There were a total of 13 sword wounds, but the most fatal issue was that he had been heavily poisoned. The external wounds were easy to treat, but if the poison wasn't neutralized, he would surely die. Just then, eldest brother pulled me to the side, his expression solemn. Chingha, who on earth is this man? Will bringing him back bring disaster upon our family? Don't worry, eldest brother, we aren't doing this for free. Look, this jade tablet is a deposit. Its quality is superb, and it's worth 1,000 gold. Eldest brother looked at me and shook his head helplessly. Well, fine. Since he's already here, we'll consider it an act of virtue. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, fifth brother, Lu Xingmian, suddenly asked a question. His questions were always so sharp. Sister Chingha, you care so much about him. Could it be that you two know each other? At those words, my heart instantly leaped into my throat. My eyes darted around, and an idea came to mind. I know him. But he doesn't know me. Does that count as knowing each other? As a result, the two brothers exchanged a look, filling in the blanks themselves. They assumed I was just a young girl experiencing first love, having fallen in love with him at first sight. I was truly caught between laughter and tears. However, right at that moment, bad news came from the room. The man's eyes had been injured by quicklime, and he had lost too much blood. Now, he was barely holding on to his last breath. The only hope was for third brother to bring back the antidote in time. I was incredibly anxious, but there was nothing I could do except worry. So, I started rendering lard, preparing to get on with my soap-making venture. To my absolute surprise, in less than 2 shurchen, he actually began to run a high fever. His forehead was hot enough to fry an egg. The entire courtyard was filled with a strong smell of medicine and food. While worrying about his life, I also had to rush to finish the order of 180 bars of soap for my osmanthus essential oil. I immediately took a bamboo basket and headed straight to Zhou Qieshan's house. I remembered that in the book, Lin Wani loved using his family's osmanthus to scent her clothes. But now, this osmanthus belongs to me. I had barely knocked on the door when Uncle Zhou looked completely puzzled. His disciple had just hurriedly borrowed his Fergana horse, so why had the sister come right after? Uncle Zhou, I've come to pick some osmanthus. I got straight to the point. Hearing this, Zhou Taishan was even more puzzled. His disciple came to pick osmanthus every year to scent Lin Wani's clothes. He thought I wanted it for the same reason. To scent clothes? I shook my head immediately. To make floral oil. Hearing this, Zhou Qieshan's eyes lit up. To make floral oil? That is much more sophisticated than scenting clothes. He immediately let me into the yard. I casually handed him a bar of soap and began my grand marketing pitch. While thanking him for lending the horse, I also opened up a new market for my soap. Who knew that when I returned after picking the osmanthus and prepared to check on the man's condition, second brother would stop me. He said men and women are different. And since the man wasn't wearing clothes, as a young girl I couldn't enter. Seeing that half of the 6 shurchen had already passed, and third brother still hadn't returned. Third brother was currently riding at full speed back from the Zhou mansion. He had gone straight to the largest herbal medicine hall, spending a full 10 taels of silver to get all the herbs. The man rested, but the horse did not. He bought a few meat pies, stuffed them into his mouth, and rushed back. As time passed, minute by minute, it grew late, and midnight arrived. The man was only about half a shurchen away from the poison taking full effect. I heard from second brother that his lips and under eyes had already turned black, and cobweb-like black veins had even appeared on his neck. My heart skipped a beat. Was the situation really this critical? I could only wait anxiously outside the door, and third brother still wasn't back. None of our family members slept. We all waited at the door. Resting my chin in my hands, I was extremely anxious. Although Xie Jingchen was fine in the original plot, my appearance was the biggest variable. Just then, hoofbeats. It was third brother. He returned under the moonlight. I rushed forward immediately. Third brother threw the medicine pouch to eldest brother, who then handed it to second brother. Second brother immediately lit a fire to brew the medicine. A human life was on the line, and this was his first time detoxifying someone. Feeling sorry for third brother after his day of rushing around, I quickly made him a bowl of savory meat noodles. Third brother wolfed them down, praising them repeatedly. Who knew the aroma would attract fourth brother, Lu Xingxi? Su Qinghe, you're actually giving him special treatment. I want some too. You have to be fair. I really couldn't do anything about him. Sigh, alright. Once second brother finishes brewing the medicine, I'll cook for you. I tossed the dough into Lu Xingxi's hands, and hurriedly followed second brother, who was carrying the medicine to neutralize the poison, rushing into the room. But as soon as we entered, I was scared out of my wits by the person on the bed. Xie Jing. Chen's neck was actually covered in spiderweb-like black patterns, reaching all the way to his chin, and his lips were completely black. It was terrifying. My voice was trembling. Second brother, how can I help? He supported the unconscious Xie Jingchen up. and stuffed the medicine bowl into my hands, commanding, "Pour it all down." I quickly fed it to him spoon by spoon, watching the black lines on his neck slowly fade. As the medicine went down, I was just about to breathe a sigh of relief, when second brother suddenly blurted out, "There's still one last step. Bloodletting." "What? Bloodletting?" "The poison has entered his blood vessels. If we don't drain it, even the immortals can't save him." I quickly ran to fetch a large bowl. Right after, second brother used a red-hot dagger to make a deep cut on his wrist. Instantly, a stream of black blood gushed out. The poisoned blood flowed rapidly, and only after half a bowl was filled did the color finally turn from black to red. Only then did second brother stop the bleeding and bandage him up, saying he had finally gotten through this ordeal. Hearing that his life was no longer in danger, I was completely relieved. I saved the life of the second male lead in the book. He will surely have to repay this favor in the future. Thinking of this, I immediately changed my expression and smiled at second brother. "Thank you for your hard work, second brother. When he wakes up, I'll demand a reward for your hard work." With that, I turned around and left. Now I have to make money quickly. We are still short of 5 taels of silver to pay off our debt to Zhao Huchen. I'm pinning all my hopes on the newly made batch of apricot kernel oil goat's milk soap. At night, I lay in bed, taking out the jade tablet Xie Jingchen gave me and turning it over. This jade tablet was supposed to be given to the female lead, but now it's in my hands. This thing is extremely valuable, but I don't want his money. What I want is this favor. As it turned out, Xie Jingchen ran a fever all night, and second brother took care of him the entire night. The rest of us siblings also stayed awake all night. The next day, Lu Xingxi, with 2 dark circles under his eyes, looked at me resentfully. "Are you just too free? Why must you look for trouble?" I only replied calmly, "Fourth brother. One must have compassion." He scoffed, rolled his eyes, his face full of disdain. But I knew. He was just sharp-tongued but soft-hearted. The next morning, I helped him light the fire and make breakfast. The minced meat flatbreads he made were golden and crispy, making my mouth water from the delicious aroma. Who knew that as soon as I entered the room to call second brother to eat, I would bump into him changing Xie Jingchen's dressings. Xie Jingchen's body was covered in crisscrossing sword wounds, making my heart race in shock. But as it turned out, this guy's physique was just too good. Fair skin, an 8-pack, and a perfect athletic waist. This was simply the top-tier build of a novel's male lead. While I was staring in a daze, second brother suddenly covered Xie Jingchen with the blanket. He scolded me roundly, "Su Qinghe, you are an unmarried girl, staring at another man's body. Have you no shame?" I was from the 21st century, but in ancient times I could only bow my head and apologize. "Second brother, I was wrong." At the dining table, I praised fourth brother's flatbreads to the skies. He immediately looked proud, straightened his back, and announced, "My ambition is to open a restaurant that is famous throughout the world." I immediately nodded frantically. "Fourth brother is so ambitious. You can definitely do it." I knew he could. He was the future #1 imperial chef in the world. However, fourth brother suddenly frowned. "Don't you think it's embarrassing for a man to settle in the kitchen? A gentleman should stay away from the kitchen." So he was actually worried about this. I laughed on the spot. What a joke. There are male imperial chefs in the palace too. Every trade has its master. I looked at him and said word by word, "The saying 'a gentleman stays away from the kitchen' is meant to teach people benevolence and kindness. Not that men shouldn't cook. Even heroes are not judged by their origins." After I finished speaking, all my brothers nodded in agreement. Only fourth brother fell into deep thought. I knew my words had struck a chord deep within him. Second brother also heard my words, and he actually said, "This sister of mine is surprisingly insightful." Third brother even laid his cards on the table. "Our family is already the center of gossip in the village. We've long been used to it." With this, the knot in fourth brother's heart was finally untied. While my brothers were busy dehulling the grains, I had only one thought in mind. My soap would be ready soon. I must gather 30 taels of silver to pay off the debt, and then save up enough travel expenses for eldest brother to take the imperial exam in the capital. But just then, second brother suddenly asked me to go take a look at Xie Jingchen. As soon as I entered, I heard his weak voice. "Give me." His lips were peeling from the fever. I quickly boiled some warm water and fed it to him bit by bit with a spoon. Who would have thought he'd suddenly grab my arm? My hand was freezing cold, but his hand was terrifyingly hot. His strength was astonishing, pulling me so hard that the water spilled. In my anger, I blurted out, "What are you in such a hurry for?" To my surprise, at my shout, he actually let go slowly. He slowly opened his eyes. Although they were unfocused, I knew he had become a bit more conscious. I had no choice but to continue feeding him. The water flowed down his chin to his neck. I casually grabbed a cloth to wipe it off. My cold fingers accidentally touched his face, and he actually seemed so comfortable that he didn't want me to leave. "Wait, why is he so hot?" Startled, I shouted, "Second brother, he has a fever again." Xie Jingchen completely passed out right after I shouted. Second brother calmly fed him the rest of the medicine, Just like that, he was in a daze with a fever for 4 or 5 days, losing a lot of weight. Meanwhile, my 180 bars of goat's milk soap were finally ready. We could finally go to the county town to deliver them. Not only that, I also specially made 35 bars of the upgraded apricot kernel oil goat's milk soap, dyed pink and stamped with a lotus flower, specifically for washing the face. I don't believe any girl could resist it. The next day, third brother, fifth brother, and I set off for the grocery store. Lu Sanyang had been looking forward to this day and night. She said my goat's milk soap was selling like crazy. The first batch of 120 bars was sold out in no time. Even the daughters and wives of rich landlords specifically asked for them. Before I could even react, Lu Sanyang directly took out the silver. Good girl. All 180 bars are already spoken for. Here, cash on delivery. She directly stuffed 22 taels of silver into my hand and threw in another 40 copper coins to round it up. I asked her to inspect the goods first, but she just gave them a casual glance and was done. But just then, she noticed the unique batch of round soaps. Lu Sanyang, this is a new product. I immediately seized the opportunity to promote it. It's specifically for washing the face. Even better than the previous one. Lu Sanyang unwrapped one, and her eyes instantly lit up. The pink soap body, and the exquisite lotus stamp. She made a decision on the spot. How could this not be popular? They're guaranteed to love it. I set the price at 20 copper coins a bar, and I'll take 16 copper coins. She agreed without a second thought, making a profit of 4 copper coins per bar. The time has come. It's time to settle the debt with Zhao Huchen. I had already made full preparations. Not only did I bring the IOU, but I also brought third brother along. He is, after all, the disciple of the #1 grandmaster. With him around, even if Zhao Huchen tries any tricks, I can still get away unscathed. Then, we headed straight to Zhao Huchen's mansion. There were actually thugs guarding the entrance. Third brother worried there might be a trap, so he had fifth brother and me wait for him at the entrance of the alley. Third brother, be careful. I handed him the 30 taels of silver. Third brother nodded, and strode inside holding the silver.